People may wish to harm you more the more you reveal your pain. However, this is not always the case. Unfortunately, this behavior of sadism and envy is common and can actually impede your own development in a variety of disciplines, be it at work, in a circle of companions, or even in the family. Some people even take pleasure in seeing you endure hardships, or they may even help it happen or become worse. Consequently, developing the ability to hide your weaknesses may turn them into strengths. We will discuss how you can be even stronger if you demonstrate that you are not easily affected by beyond problems. Every challenge teaches you to be like the tree by acting as if nothing disturbs you. Imagine yourself as a tree in the middle of a storm. The leaves may wave and the branches may oscillate, but the main body remains solid and deeply rooted in the earth. This is the image of silent resilience that we are going to teach. This video will cover the 18 Stoic principles of Epictetus, a great and well-known philosopher that you probably already have heard of. You are not denying the storm. Rather, by refusing to let the rain soak you and the wind knock you down, you will be learning to be the master of your own fate, firm, strong, and peaceful in a sea of chaos. Additionally, I'm inviting you to a place of self-knowledge when the strength to navigate life comes not from thunderous noises but rather from the quiet of light. With that in mind, let's spend the next few minutes concentrating on the material rather than everyday distractions. Principle number 1. Listen twice as much as you speak. Have you ever considered regarding the reason nature provided us 2 ears? But Epictetus reports that there is only one mouth. There is neither a mistake nor a coincidence, but rather a distinct motive for this truth to avoid becoming enamored with our speech whenever we are called to descend enamored with other people's voices. It is by taking advice from others we grow, not by reciting our own words in life repeatedly. So let's start today, focusing more on what individuals more to what you have than to others around you has been maintained up till this point. Principle number 2. Always expect the worst. The belief that negative events are waiting for us in the future is one of the biggest causes of anxiety and its severe repercussions. We fear that the person we love will reveal to us that they have been having an affair and ask for a divorce, that our children will give up on their studies, that we will be fired from our job, or that we will experience other terrible things like going into bankruptcy. The issue arises from the fact that we fear one of these problems one day, and then another, and another. The path of life, while reserving good and happy parts for us, also reserves a handful of problems that are inevitable, so we live in constant stress brought on by various stimuli every day. This is where Epictetus enters the picture, because his suggestion is as extreme as it is effective. He says, consider that everything you fear so much has already happened, so what could be worse in this way? Your spirit will develop techniques for coping to propel you forward with your head held high. Principle number 3, prepare to fail, because it is the only way to progress. We take on impossible tasks to avoid being viewed as foolish, but Epictetus has a different perspective on this. In his philosophy, one of the best things that can happen to you is to be thought of as someone who can help you grow both personally and professionally. The Stoic philosopher also reminds us that overcoming is not the result of an amoeba's reaction, but rather the culmination of a lengthy process of trial and error, because it is through error that we can refine the things that separate us from excellence. Principle number 4, be aware of the dangers of fortune. The wealth we seek carries a stigma that few people are able to overcome, and it's not just about the people who will materialize out of nowhere to profit from our good fortune, for example, by feigning friendship with us. Money has the power to change people, but not always for the better. Once we acquire this highly sought-after asset, we discover we have something we were unaware we had. And it is at that point that our spirit may start to turn against us due to the loss of moral principles. Principle number 5, do not cling to a single hope. Fortunately, humans are naturally drawn to diversity. Therefore, Epictetus advises us to pursue a variety of dreams, since doing so will greatly raise our chances of success. There is no need to place all of our hopes in one ambition, because failing at it could be disastrous. Principle number 6, always remember that death is waiting at the end of the road. This advice is not meant to make us depressed. Rather, it is to remind us that death is the ultimate goal of everything we do, especially our efforts. With this in mind, maybe we will begin to consider how much it is worth devoting 20 years of our meager life savings to buying a house that, heavy though it may be, we will not be able to take with us when death comes calling. It would be very beneficial for us to carry a small notebook with these Stoic OIC principles, just as we carry in our bags the items we consider essential for our daily lives, like our phone, credit cards, and toothbrush. Because of them, we will no longer see setbacks as misfortunes or life as something we have to ourselves. Instead, we will gain a more realistic perspective on our existence and undoubtedly make better use of our time here on earth. Principle number 7. True wealth lies in a contented spirit. Epictetus developed a unique definition of happiness as a result of his Stoicism, which is embodied in one of his well-known quotes. A wise man is one who does not fret over the things he does not have, but rejoices in those that he does. This contemplation goes beyond mere cognition. The advice is to learn to stop being affected by riches that are not yet a part of our lives, because when we allow ourselves to be unhappy and lament our shortcomings, we miss out on precious moments of happiness when we could be grateful for everything we have accomplished thus far, which is far more than our eyes are taught to recognize. For this reason, a wealthy person is, above all, a happy person. Principle number 8. Incorporate humility into your life. Through this remark, Epictetus calls us to use our sense of modesty, especially in the area of learning as we go through life, which is crucial if one truly wants to acquire knowledge about something. When we brag about our knowledge, we are moving closer to the real knowledge that comes from realizing how ignorant we are of the things we hope to learn. In doing so, we will see the world through the eyes of a child who has just as much capacity for wonder as they do for driven curiosity. Principle number 9. Guilt is synonymous with plague. People with limited perspectives place blame on others. Thanks to this quote from Epictetus, therapists today have started to view guilt as an emotion that needs to be eliminated from our life. The only way to win the competition against guilt is to refuse to play with it. Ordinary people blame themselves, but the wise recognize all shame as nonsense. The issue is that it leads to an easy path, because when we place the blame elsewhere or on ourselves, we totally absolve ourselves of the need to make amends. For this reason, resorting to it is a temptation from which it is difficult to break free. Only those who are determined to overcome can avoid feeling guilty while still accepting accountability for their actions. Principle number 10. Make alliances with winning people. Behavior among individuals strongly impacts our state of mind, so it's interesting that when someone breathes deeply next to us, we immediately move away out of fear that they will infect us. However, we are not as cautious to avoid one of the most deadly transmissions we are exposed to on a daily basis. Epictetus gave us an important piece of advice about this. Surround ourselves with people who inspire us to give our best. One of the best choices we can make is to surround ourselves with people who make us feel good about ourselves and bid farewell to those who have the power to make us regret our birth. There are people who sap our vitality and ruin our days, while others make us feel joyful and content. Principle number 11. Never forget that your reactions forge your destiny. We must not undervalue our responses, since they unquestionably determine whether we succeed or fail. Epictetus was quite definitive in his teachings, imparting to us the knowledge that we cannot control what occurs, only how to handle it. Any of us could experience misfortune, but for some of us, it's what we do when it does that will determine how things turn out moving forward. While getting a separation implies entering a world of persecution and misery, for Epictetus, it's a fantastic chance to begin on the path of self-knowledge. Keep in mind that your life is what you do with it, not what happens to you. Principle number 12. Always fulfill your duty. Every individual in the world has an essential part to play, and just as the sun rises every day without any thanks or magic, so too must we carry out our responsibilities in order for the rest of nature to continue functioning. We are failing ourselves and the environment we live in if we wait for approval or praise to complete our work. If we know what needs to be done and are conscious of the fact that others depend on us to complete it, it is our moral obligation to do it without waiting for someone to remind us. Principle number 13. Do not hate those who hate you, just brush them off. Do not waste your valuable energy hating someone, since you are much more powerful and superior than them. They don't even deserve to be in the forefront of your mind. So stop criticizing, hating, and discriminating against them. People who hurt you should not be feared, because the noise they make is an unfortunate attempt to hurt you. Ignore it and get numb to it. Principle number 14. Bet on simplicity. Why lead a thrifty lifestyle? When we choose a simple lifestyle, we become less surrounded by the stress of having to pay bills on time. If you're wondering how we manage to maintain our system of luxury and wealth in this day and age, the answer is actually much simpler and more logical than you might think. Wealth does not sustain itself. Rather, it requires dedication and a lot of daily effort. Credit cards and loans. Principle number 15. When you allow the comments and attitudes of others to bother you, you are handing over control of your life. Anyone who has the ability to enrage you becomes your master. Nevertheless, they can only do so if you allow them to bother you. Epictetus helps us realize that we all have several keys within us, some of which lead to happiness. Others, on the other hand, bring us straight to emotional collapse, and it's just this final key that we provide to people who enrage us. Building a wall that keeps us from being influenced by other people's opinions is the answer to this issue, because everyone is ultimately responsible for what they choose to hear and say. Principle number 16. Friendship is above wealth. Since they will be there for us if our tangible fortune fades one day, true friends are the actual source of riches. If you commit yourself to nurturing these relationships, you will be making a very wise long-term investment. Principle number 17. Always extract the benefit from things whatever happens. Whether you choose to take advantage of it or not, these were the words of Epictetus. As you can see, it is our responsibility to do so as long as you possess wisdom. It is not a choice. Instead of giving up and blaming the universe for not supporting you, you will be able to see the positive aspects of the circumstances that have befallen you. Imagine that one day you go to work and find out you've been fired. You can choose to start the business of your dreams while working with people you don't like. So always try to find the good in any circumstance. When this movement is added up over the course of your life, it will undoubtedly carry you farther than simply moping. Principle number 18. Stop worrying about what is out of your control. You are the owner of your opinion, but not of your public image. You have the drive and excitement for the search, but you have no control over your success or possessions. According to Epictetus, worrying and growing resentful over things we have no control over is just a decision to waste time. Along with being tremendously helpful for day-to-day living, fate must also be allowed to take care of the things that are beyond our control. We are asked to cultivate the values that we can influence. Stoic philosophy teaches us to apply what we have learned and move forward, rather than dwelling on the past. As a result, it can help us face difficult times with curiosity and fortitude. I hope you enjoy the movie. If you've seen it through to the end, please subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts with us. I'll see you soon.